Come on, dig into that soul, Chris. Come on. Show the motherfuckers that you want this fight now. Show these motherfuckers that you get it. Dig. There we go. There we go. There we go. Make them combinations fast. Come on. Trust in your speed, son.
He got that killer instinct. He know what it takes to get it done.
4 minutes.
That's why it's easy training with him, because he trains so hard.
In terms of my training in my camp, I love combat. I love testing myself.
What's the word, Chris?
Did some cardio earlier.
No, Wednesday we got 12 rounds. 12 3-minute rounds.
Inside the training camp, the energy is electric as Chris Eubank Jr. sharpens his skills under the watchful eye of his legendary father, Chris Eubank Sr. With the long-awaited rematch against Conor Benn approaching, the father and son are combining old-school grit with modern precision. Eubank Sr.'s discipline and mental toughness are shaping Jr.'s preparation, turning this camp into a masterclass of legacy and redemption.
This is my first full camp in Dubai. I've actually, I've wanted to train out here more consistently for a long time. It's the perfect environment. The gyms are amazing, the nutrition, the food, the sun. As long as you don't get distracted with all the distractions of Dubai, I think it's an amazing place to kind of focus and hone your skills in the fight world.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Work the rope.
As the rematch between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn draws near, the atmosphere in Eubank's camp is electric. In their first fight at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in April 2025, Eubank Jr. won by unanimous decision after a grueling 12-round battle.
Into this fight and find his range, but find his range he did. They just exchanged the rounds one by one. Eventually, Conor Benn looked like he was slowing down, but he found a second wind and managed to take it back to Chris Eubank Jr., particularly just with really aggressive punches. Chris Eubank Jr. working the body, Conor Benn trying to find that knockout punch. It was chaotic, a barrage from both fighters in those final few rounds, and so hard to call. On the fan scorecards, it was level, 114 to 114, and no one could separate these two. But you heard it there. Chris Eubank Jr. wins, and not only does that on unanimous decision, but does it to inflict Conor Benn's first ever.
According to Comp Box, Eubank Jr. landed 367 of 912 punches, while Benn landed 215 of 593. Despite being older and more physically drained, Eubank Jr. came out on top. However, his weight cut and dehydration raised serious concerns. He missed weight by 0.05 pounds before the fight and had to be hospitalized as a precaution afterward. Going into the rematch was fined. Eubank Jr. determined to finish Benn more decisively this time as the favorite. Meanwhile, his father, Chris Eubank Sr., and more physically drained. Eubank, he is reconnecting with his son. But he has publicly questioned whether the rematch should take place under the same conditions as the first fight.
Drained, they put a rehydration clause in. They fined him some £500,000 for coming in, 2 ounces over the weight. It was reported to me by Lawrence Lustig, who is a very famous photographer. Junior wasn't even sweating at the end of the fight. Dehydration. These rules are in place to save my son, to save the lives of fighters. Unfortunately, the reporters, the journalists are not doing their job. They're not holding them to account. Gareth Davis, do your job. Simon Jordan, you speak on boxing, do your job. You are not credible if you let these things happen. What you are is a jester. As I said after the fight, Conor Benn is an extraordinary fighter. Fighting at 156 or fighting a fighter at 160, he doesn't get back down to 147. And if he does, he's not the fighter he could have been. They are dangerous, they are reckless. If the Boxing Board of Control don't do what they're supposed to do, which is to block fights from happening which do not abide by the weights and the rules, you are baboons. I'm not a baboon, and I know this life. I've gone up to cruiserweight, fighting Carl Thompson. Watch that fight. Both of them. Where you're watching one man who is almost twice the size of me. So it seems, I say this sparingly, seemingly killing me. And it looks like a fight because the smaller guy, me, has heart. And nothing is going to stop me. No threat. Nothing's going to stop me. I'm going to put a picture up of my eye. It looked like my eye was pregnant and giving birth. That's these promoters pulling me into a fight that I need for the money. So I say, no, I'll do it. But the Boxing Board of Control is not supposed to allow that to happen. So now when I speak on it for my own son, people say, oh, well, you know, he's overreacting. I'm not overreacting.
Inside Chris Eubank Jr.'s training camp, the mood is serious and focused as he prepares for his rematch with Conor Benn. In recent weeks, he has worked on fixing the mistakes that affected his first fight. Eubank admitted that his previous win came as much from his will and experience as from his physical strength, and now he plans to turn that into an even more decisive performance.
What that session involved and the benefits for him.
We call that the Xbox. 6 different stations. You got 3 coaches. You got 3 different obstacles to push you as far as your power shots, your speed, your slipping, your rhythm, your sprints, your endurance on throwing your power shots and stepping over. So we usually do that once a week to push the fighter, and then every week we go up.
Pick it up, pick it up. Keep pushing. More. There you go. Almost there. Come on, let's go. Come on, Chris. Give it up. Come on. Go. Keep it up.
Eubank Jr. is training in Dubai, cutting out distractions and focusing on long sparring sessions and conditioning drills. He confirmed that his father, Chris Eubank Sr., will be at ringside for support, but will also guide him during training. His sparring partner shared that Eubank regularly goes through 4-minute rounds with only 30-second breaks. This intense routine helps him not just build endurance, but also maintain focus and strategy even when
full camp in Dubai. I've actually I've wanted to train out here more consistently for a long time. It's the perfect environment. The gyms are amazing, the nutrition, the food, the sun. As long as you don't get distracted with all the distractions of Dubai, I think it's an amazing place to kind of focus.
Eubank Jr. has reunited with veteran coach Brian "Bo" McIntyre, the same trainer who helped Terence Crawford become an undisputed champion. This move shows that Eubank Jr. isn't just looking to repeat his first win, but to dominate even more in the rematch. McIntyre made it clear, saying he already has his number. McIntyre praised Eubank Jr.'s attitude in the gym, noting how hard he trains and how serious he is about winning. He explained that, unlike previous training camps, this time Eubank Jr. is fully committed and completely focused on the job ahead.
Keep grinding, to the next fighter.
Did you get to make it back over for the victory parade?
Yes,
or
definitely we had to come back for the parade. That was beautiful what the city did for Bud.
How was that? Yeah, because we've even seen other fights before where there's been a great turnout, but this looked like a whole new level, and so right, it should have been.
I can imagine probably close to 1 million people there. I would think, man, it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Crawford's obviously enjoying some well-deserved time off, but has he spoken to you any more about what kind of next steps would be for him, what he wants?
No, not yet. We talked a little bit yesterday, but we didn't discuss anything about boxing. So we're just making sure, I was checking with him, making sure the gym was going good, the kids was getting a good workout, and we're putting on another show for our up-and-coming fighters, so he's working on that, and while I'm working with Chris.
Working with Chris, exactly. You are back working with Chris Eubank Jr. You're with him for the rematch against Liam Smith. How did it come about, you coming back into camp with him for this one?
Well, while we was finishing up with Crawford, Chris's guys, they hit me up maybe a month out and asked me would I be interested. I told them, of course, right away, because I felt like that me and Chris got a good repertoire together, we got a good relationship, and we come out with good results.
The first fight between the sons carried the legacy of their father's rivalry from the early 1990s, adding history, emotion, and pressure. The feud between Chris Eubank Sr. and Nigel Benn is still considered one of the greatest rivalries in British boxing. Their first fight in November 1990 was a high-stakes showdown that had fans on the edge of their seats. Both men were at their peak. Eubank Sr., an undefeated and confident technician, and Nigel Benn, a powerful, aggressive puncher. The fight lived up to the hype, with Eubank surviving Ben's early attacks and stopping him in the 9th round to win the WBO middleweight title. The recent clash between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. has been compared to the famous 2008 fight between Manny Pacquiao and Oscar de la Hoya. In that matchup, Pacquiao moved up 2 weight classes to face de la Hoya, a 6-division world champion. Even though many worried about the size difference, Pacquiao's speed and accuracy dominated the fight, leading to a stoppage after the 8th round when de la Hoya's corner threw in the towel. In a similar way, Conor Benn, normally a welterweight, stepped up to challenge the naturally bigger middleweight Chris Eubank Jr. Despite Eubank Jr.'s size and experience advantage, Benn delivered a strong performance, showing impressive power, heart, and resilience.
Putting the bag on Conor Benn, and here's why. I believe we've seen this type of fight before. The similarities are unreal. 2008. A 29-year-old Manny Pacquiao faced a 35-year-old Oscar de la Hoya. Oscar de la Hoya was the favorite in that fight against Manny Pacquiao because not only was Oscar de la Hoya an experienced and fantastic fighter, he was just naturally the bigger man, and they thought Manny Pacquiao was insane. Chris Eubank Jr., as the bigger man and skilled fighter, people are seeing him as the favorite. And me too, I am predicting a Chris Eubank Jr. win. But where I'm going to put my money is going to be on Conor Benn because of the history, the similarities of what we saw in 2008 with Manny Pacquiao and Oscar de la Hoya. No, Conor Benn is no Manny Pacquiao, but don't get it confused. Chris Eubank Jr. is definitely.
Fraser Clark shared his thoughts on the intense fight between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, saying that the right man won. He praised both fighters for showing huge heart and dedication throughout the match. Clark highlighted how important high-level fights like this are for British boxing and noted the pride and respect both men earned with their performances. His reaction showed the admiration the boxing community has for fighters who step into the ring and give everything they've got. Despite his earlier objections, Chris Eubank Sr. made a surprise appearance halfway through the undercard, arriving at the stadium to support his son. His arrival sent a wave of energy through the crowd of 65,000 fans, who cheered loudly when they saw him. Nigel Benn, Conor Benn's father, was also there and welcomed Eubank Sr.'s presence, seeing it as a positive moment for both families.
As well, sir, you turned up to support your son. What a night.
Well, you know, I was always going to be here for my son, irrespective of what you thought. I mean, it's a show. So suspense is part of the game. Now, the performance, championship rounds, standing toe-to-toe, the credit I'm going to give to Conor. I told you he was a superior fighter, but he shouldn't be fighting at 160 or 156. He's a 147 fighter. What couldn't he do around the world? He's been destroyed by the people who are handling him, and they have to be brought to account. Do your job. Do your job. Do your job.
It's great to see you. Thank you.
Chris Eubank Sr. has strongly warned that his son, Chris Eubank Jr., was pressured into a deal by promoters who cared more about money than his health or career. He says they forced him into a tough 160 pounds weight limit and added a strict rehydration rule, making sure he went into the ring tired and drained. According to Eubank Sr., these terms were never meant to protect his son's well-being. They were designed to create drama and boost ticket sales and streaming numbers.
He lost. What couldn't he do at his proper weight, fighting a man of his size? Let me tell you what Junior did. He took away all the sweeties from everyone. They fined him, they blocked him on rehydration, they tricked him on weight. Once you're bringing him down to 160, he's 35 years old. He's a man, he's a big man. He'll do it because he's a warrior, but he shouldn't do it. But he's not going to listen to anyone. If he's not going to listen to me, he's not going to listen to anybody else. So the rematch is, Junior, you have everything, you're rich. You know, those promoters, they hate you because they can never get close to anything that you do. The analogy I will use, they're looking at you like you're a rocket, you've taken off, all the fuel burners and tanks have fallen back to Earth, and you are now in space. They don't have the oxygen to be in the world you live in. They would do anything to be able to live at that
The weight situation between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn played a big role in their April 26, 2025 fight at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Eubank Jr., a natural middleweight and former super middleweight, normally fights between 160 and 168 pounds. Benn, on the other hand, has spent his career at welterweight and usually competes at 147 pounds. For this matchup, Benn had to move up 2 weight classes to meet Eubank Jr. at the middleweight limit of 160 pounds to make the fight possible. Both fighters had to adjust. Eubank Jr. had to cut down from his usual fighting weight, which could weaken him and affect his stamina. Meanwhile, Benn had to put on extra weight while still trying to keep his speed and power, also a tough challenge. The agreed catch weight of 156 pounds, just 1 pound under junior middleweight, was a carefully negotiated compromise. But even with this middle ground, the weight change creates risks for both fighters.
This is even 70% of what he was. He's far too big for Benn. If he is really gone and shot, then yeah, he has a very good chance because, you know, he's the guy that can eat comfortably. You know, he doesn't have to pull himself down to make weight. You know, I look at it the same as I look at the, you know, obviously Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia fight. You know, a lot of people just don't understand. You know, one guy planned not to make weight and one guy was actually working hard to make the weight. It's not a fair fight. And that's without even talking about, you know, the accusations about with the PEDs.
Oh, mate, that'd be legendary. You know, that'd be legendary. I'd love that.
We know that your dad has had 2 very, very famous fights in the 90s with Chris Sr. You're, what, 3 or 4 weight divisions away from Chris Eubank Jr. at the moment, but you are 19 and you will continue to grow and you will continue to put weight on. What chance of you fighting Chris Eubank Jr. at some point in the future?
Oh, mate, that'd be legendary. You know, that'd be legendary. I'd love that. I'd love that. You could, you know, but there's so many obstacles I've got to get first before we can even consider that. Yeah. So far, it's just a fantasy for the British public. You know, but who knows?
At the official weigh-in, Benn easily made the weight at 156.4 pounds. Eubank Jr., however, first came in at 160.2 pounds, which was 0.2 pounds over the limit. He tried again and weighed 160.05 pounds, still over by half an ounce. Because of this, Eubank Jr. was fined £375,000 and the money was given to Benn. Eubank has said that the conditions for Benn's fight were not only unfair but also unethical. He even suggested that the fight breaks the rules and should not go ahead unless changes are made. His warnings show a strong protective instinct and a firm belief that no fight is worth risking a fighter's health.
Oh, wow. We are going to do one now.
Okay, time to jump in the sauna. Now the fun begins.
Or 8 pounds? You better watch out, dreadlocks. You better watch out, because we are come for you. Oh, sorry. It's my mother's tongue again. It comes through. You'd better watch out, because we're not playing. We're real, and we are a terror. And the procedure will be parliamentary.
What do you think about Chris Eubank Jr. training so intensely under his father's close guidance? Share your thoughts below.